Welcome back, our beloved viewers. This is the What's on Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Victor Olilo.
And I'm your host. I'm a co-host.
Hostess with the mostest.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Nassim Kata.
So, penny for your thoughts. A lot has been happening this week. Mm-hmm. And I think this week we're starting off on a very sensitive topic. Mm-hmm. And this is consent.
Yeah.
I've seen about 2 videos. Mm-hmm. One of an instance that happened in India, mm-hmm. A medical doctor who, I think during like a lunch break, was, accosted into an alternative room by about 10 guys. Mm-hmm. And they had their way with her. And unfortunately, she succumbed and passed on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like the autopsy revealed that she had about 150 ml of bodily fluids within her. And, one shot apparently produces about 10 to 15 mm-hmm. ml. So you can imagine.
So those are about 10 people.
About 10 people. So you can imagine the ordeal she went through. The second one happened much closer home, mm-hmm. In Kennel. And this happened to, first of all, it's a minor, a 17-year-old girl. Bruh. And she went to say hi to this, like she said hi to these guys. It's like they asked her to say hi and she greeted them, and then they basically more or less abducted her, took her somewhere, had their way with her, tied her up, and then dragged her like against the tarmac. Like they tied her and she was confined and being dragged by a car. And if you hear of the injuries she went through, or she experienced, it was very gruesome. Mm-hmm. And my only question is, men, why are we behaving badly? Because for me, this is a men issue. It's a men issue. I don't know what you think about it, but it's definitely a man issue.
It is a man issue, and you wonder why people are saying they'd rather choose, the bear.
The bear.
It is a man issue, yes, but I also feel like it's also a societal issue, As much as you're saying it's a man issue,
yes,
when you look at our society on how they respond to such cases and mm-hmm. everything, then it stops only being about the man,
yes,
and it also incorporates the whole
society at large.
Because in that case of the Indian lady, and it's so unfortunate, such topics make me feel so, yes.
For me, my blood is usually like boiling. I'm just
exactly.
Like,
so it's very unfortunate you find in such situations on the comment section.
Oh yes,
bruh.
That is where all the anger is.
Yes. There's this person that was saying, first of all, there's the one that one was saying
she should carry a condom.
Yes, she should carry a condom. The other one was saying they should legalize non-violent rape.
Yes.
What is non-violent rape? It doesn't make sense.
I don't understand either, because, and they're actually pushing for it. They're advocating for it that, first of all, ladies should carry condoms, and in the instance of rape, as long as the person isn't violent, you should consent to it. You actually not consent. You should cooperate with the rapist
and just go with it.
And let him do his thing.
It doesn't make sense, because that's giving. If I want you, I can have you anytime.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
There are no procedures to it. Like
it's like we're living. Ushaona kuku na jogo when they're getting intimate and we want to behave like animals.
Yeah, but even them, there's and you see there are different principles and laws that apply to even animals. So if you watch even animals, there are certain prerequisites.
Agreed.
There's a chase that has to happen. You have to, like, even before the female gives in, the male will have to have proven that he is worthy of copulating with the female. Yeah. So I don't know why we want to live by certain.
I mean, even the jungle is way merciful.
Has some order.
Bruh, I was reading those comments, and the more I read them, the more I realized I do have anger issues.
Oh,
and I felt like we
same,
need
same.
now to start legalizing firearms and whatnot. Because now it basically says you can kill whoever you want as
Yes.
long as it's warranted and you
Yes,
have a reason.
you have
It
upset
doesn't
me.
make sense. And
Like you've angered me, so I have every right to, do as I deem fit.
please.
Yeah,
And-
justice by my eyes is fit, and it doesn't make sense because why would you advocate for, this action, and people are saying, oh, and I hate the comments where, oh,
Should
he had
have-
an urge,
or she would have dressed modestly,
and
hang
most
a
of
talk
this-
on a mini skirt. She was calling for it. She
there's
wanted
an
it.
84-year-old grandma who was abused
We have
and passed
kids.
away. We have kids, but the question is, Nassim, how many times do you walk in town and you're hungry, like you're starving? You probably can't even see clearly.
Na wingi place ya chipo
Tao kwanza kuna watu wa smoky wanakuanga
uende kuchukua
every 2 meters utapata mso wa smoky. So because I am this hungry and this person is displaying smoky na mimi niko na tamaa ya smoky, why don't I go and
just
take that
grab
smoky and eat?
just because I was hungry.
Because I was hungry. It's justified, no?
Bruh,
So why is it that I can control certain appetites,
but now when
but
it
not
comes
others?
to matters the flesh,
Yes.
it becomes a little
It becomes
bit
an
hard.
issue. Now I'm blaming the victim.
That's the thing I've never really understood. Because when men say this, or when some men say this, it makes me think, do you think women who don't have sexual urges or sexual needs, Is that what guys, when they say if you want it, you can get it, does that mean, so should we also start raping men?
And I think that's where the challenge is. Because some of the same men who share such sentiments, usually when you ask them, so if another man is attracted to you,
can he still do the same?
Would you be okay with him having his way with you? And that's where they're like, hey,
that's where they draw the line.
Yes. So why are you creating such gray areas? And now it brings me to ask, is it then I think it's a mental issue.
Let me tell you something. When it comes, let's ingia kidogo to psychology.
Yes, please.
Sigmund had a theory of our mind, our conscious, unconscious, subconscious.
Yes.
Through that, he had other three concepts: the id, the ego, and the superego, right? So I feel like when it comes to sexual urges, most men want to operate on the id.
The id.
So what the id does is it wants it now and it wants it now. So the id is mostly what kids have.
Like children, yes.
And it's stated we are all born with id.
Yes.
So the superego and the ego are things that
we develop.
We develop as we grow, the experiences we get and everything.
Yes.
So what the id does, I'll give you maybe a scenario. Ushaingia supermarket na mtoi akona kitu yenye anataka.
Yes.
And they start crying, they throw tantrums because they want it and they want it now. So that's
and they do not understand why they cannot have it.
Yes, and they don't understand what do you mean hauna pesa ya kununua ikitu and everything. I want it and I want it now. So I feel like when it comes to sexual desires, that most men operate on it, and what it does is it brings out your innermost desires, and you have this concept of, if I can't have this, I must have this.
I must have this. Okay. Yes.
So now that goes to show us, for those people that feel like they can't control their urges and everything, how has their life been throughout?
Yeah.
Their upbringing and everything, to a point whereby you feel like, if I want it, I can get it.
I can, yeah.
Because when we look at such situations, this is where unasikia msee anasema, if I can't have her, then no one else
will. And
you hear
and that's
cases
where you have
of
cases of homicide and everything, and femicide and all that.
Exactly.
And because I think it's, if a child, because I have kids, and interesting enough, from a very early age, my children, I have not really had an issue with them, even in supermarkets, with tantrums. Because these are things that
You've conditioned them.
we conditioned. Yeah. That delayed gratification. Yeah. Where, fine, I understand you want this. I may not be in a position to get it for you now, but I can make a commitment. If it's something that I feel you deserve and it's worth you getting, I will make a commitment to you. And my children understand that. I will commit to it, and I tell them, I don't have money now, but I will buy this for you. And the innocence of children, let me tell you, they do not forget. I will be reminded. Yes, I'll be reminded. But as long as I keep on telling them, I keep on reassuring them that yes, I am making arrangements, and I will.
Still working on
yes, what I cannot, I will tell them straight up. I cannot do this, and they accept and they move on. So why is it that it's easy for a child to actually understand that and grasp that and be okay with that, but for an adult, because Nassim, I've told you, I am attracted to you, I feel like you're very pretty, and I want you, and you're like, no, I do not want the same thing you want. Why is it so difficult for me then to accept the same? And I've been through so many situations. As an adult, I should be able to even process that a lot better. What do you think?
So for me, like I said, I feel like it's generated from that point whereby your kid wants something and you're not teaching them on that delayed gratification,
So who's to blame in this scenario?
I remember the last time we had this conversation, we were also talking about, how we always blame our parents, whereby this is how nimelelewa,
Yes.
I've always gotten what I want. I'll give you an example of me. Growing up, I was a spoiled brat. I feel like I still am.
But
my mom makes sure, like, she makes it her personal job,
objective, yes,
to make sure I get everything I want in life, including now. So I remember situations where by growing up, I would just be like, nataka a certain dolly. I had so many toys. My dad would be like, but you have a lot.
You have more than enough.
In the evening, my mom will bring the exact thing I wanted.
That you requested, yes.
When it comes to sweet tooth, I want this, I'll wake up and get it.
Yes.
So I grew up knowing I can get anything you want. As long as I've asked for it, especially from my mom.
Yes.
But then again, with that, she also learned how to balance it out.
Okay.
Because now I started becoming spoiled.
Spoiled, yes.
I was a kind of kid, because I'm used to asking and getting, it reached a point whereby I was those kids of tantrums. I would walk in a supermarket. I remember I was around, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I walked into a supermarket. I saw a bike. I cried for it, and I got it. We went back home with the bike.
Must be nice.
But then again, when we got home with that bike, it came with conditions.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't access it as I had hoped I would.
You would, yes.
And that's why now I think my mom realized if I don't nip this
in the bud,
yes, she's going to be a very entitled person. And
you see now that responsibility now shifts from her to society, because now it's the rest of us who have to deal with.
Exactly. So my mom, every time I would ask or want to access the bike, she would sit me down.
Okay.
She was like, just because you asked for it and you got it, you need to earn this.
Yes.
So it came with responsibilities. I needed either to make my bed for me to be able to do this. I needed to finish, my assignments, homework, blah, 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 to get this. I grew up, I didn't know how to speak Kimeru. I still struggle with it kidogo. So that's another thing that she really insisted on.
Yes.
So my mom was I was the type of kid whereby atanitetesha na Kimeru, I would reply in Swahili or English, and then everyone would hear what she's saying, and then she'd beat me because she didn't want them to, the way. Yes. So she was like, those are the rules.
Yes.
And I started understanding that just because you want something and maybe you've gotten it, it also comes with other
specific.
Yes. So pole pole, I started asking for things. She started now also introducing that delayed gratification. Yes, as much as you want it now, just because you're crying and everything, it doesn't mean you'll get it. You know? So later on, I came to realize that day, tukitoka supermarket, and I'm like, it's not that she got it because I was crying and everything. She got it first, niache hiyo drama yote.
Okay.
And also to teach me a long-term lesson. And it worked.
And I think it was a lesson for you both because she also realized, I think it was at that point that she realized.
Yes, she realized, Nisipo, if I don't do something about this, then this person will never change. So I realized my mom loves me a lot.
Yes.
But just because we love our kids, we need to learn what repercussions our, acts of loving and everything might bring to them later on in life, And another thing, as much as now as I'm an adult, when I look back, I realize I was kidogo spoiled and I need to change some things about me and everything. And that's why I say, even if you've been brought up a certain way, it reaches, now you're an adult. Your brain is fully developed.
It's fully developed, yes.
So there are certain things that we don't need to blame our parents over.
Yes.
It's about time we started now reparenting ourselves.
Yes.
What can I do different? And now you see, when we talk about the id, the ego, and the superego, like I said, the ego and the superego are things that develop later on in life. Through experiences and everything. And what happens is the id is the extreme of desires and everything. The superego is the other extreme. And I feel like people interchange superego and ego.
And ego, okay.
Yes, superego is now the other extreme, whereby it overcompensate. I'll give an example of, let me use a very common...
practical example, yeah.
Practical example, yes, but also a stereotype. Okay. And yes, so I'm putting it in quotes to sijipate again.
Tumejikaanga kwa mafuta yetu.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this narrative of how a Kikuyu man protects their money. I'll give you an example. Okay. Maybe akona loria waru ama ya cabbage, so he has money.
Yeah.
Akona do
mingi.
But hawezi kutoa hiyo do kujinunulia soda. So that is the other extreme of superego. Superego inakwambia we need to save. Si lazima tukunywe hiyo soda. Hiyo soda tunaweza do.
Siwezi by designer. Lazima ni serve kona nini.
Bas. Siwezi nunua nitembe tu na ngoma. Tuna save up. So hizo akona millions and millions kwa account. Meaning akatoa hii 30 bob ya soda ama ya soda. It won't cause any...
it's a drop in the ocean.
So that is now the superego. So when you look at it, you see the id is I want it and want it now. The superego is
you're not
we are saving.
Yes.
Now what the ego comes to do is it balances it out. It balances the id and it balances the superego on a more realistic approach.
Plane, yes.
So ego itakuja iseme manze kutoa so kwa millions and
you're
millions.
Thirsty. You've worked hard. You've already earned this much money. You have plenty of savings. It's a small token of kurudisha mwili pole.
Bas, unaambia tu mwili pole. Na so manze, ita cause a lot of damage kwa account yako. So that's what the ego does. But most of the time when you look at the ego, we see it as, we see it as kitu mbaya or something, but it comes to balance out the situation. And it can only balance it out through now those kidogo experiences you've gotten throughout life. You remember we talked about the whole core beliefs and everything. So ego helps balance the superego and the id, So back to our topic of consent, So when it comes to consent, first of all, what do you understand by consent?
My understanding of consent, and this is me, is the express permission by one party to the other to exercise certain let me say acts. It is me telling you, yes, it's okay. You can hold my hand. Something as simple as that. And you can hold my hand, and 5 minutes later, I feel like, I know, I'm uncomfortable. And I tell you, I don't feel like holding your hand anymore. that for me is what I understand by consent. Yes.
So basically, it's an agreement before getting into
any
yes.
action. Yes.
And before I even talk about the sexual context, consent, let's talk about consent, how important consent is.
Yes.
I'll give you an example on therapy aspect or a therapeutic relationship.
Yes.
So before we have sessions,
a session, yes,
there's something we call informed consent.
Yes.
And with this informed consent, I just want to walk you through the whole
journey
document.
Yes.
Of the informed consent. So with the informed consent one, the therapist, the first page, the therapist introduces themselves.
Yes.
They introduce the services that they're doing and the services that they don't offer.
Okay.
Cases they might handle, cases they might not handle. I'll give you an example with my informed consent.
Yes.
I will introduce myself, say these are the cases that I handle. I'm specialized in XYZ,
yes.
and these are the cases I might not handle. I'll give an example. In mine, the last paragraph states, in case of suicidal ideations,
yes.
then I won't handle the session. I will refer you to someone
else. Okay.
The reason I do this is when I'll be digressing kidogo, but
it's okay.
Walk with me.
The end justifies the
yes.
means. As long as we bora tufike.
Yes. So the reason I do that is when it comes to suicidal ideations, there are two types of suicidal ideations, I mean.
Okay.
There's the active suicidal ideation and there's a passive suicidal ideation.
Okay.
So let me explain the passive. The passive suicidal ideation, me personally, Usema, almost everyone in this population in this world has gone through it, whereby life has gotten so hard or so rough for a split second.
Yes.
Unafikiria, it would be better off if I'm not around.
If I wasn't here,
yes,
like,
this would
be a better situation.
Yes. But then again, you don't fixate on it. You don't think of ways to do it. You don't think of this and that. The minute that situation imeisha, the thoughts are gone.
Move on.
You don't even go back there.
Yes.
So for such a situation, I help my clients understand for such a situation, I can handle. We can do the sessions.
Okay.
Even virtual sessions and everything, as long as it's passive.
Yes.
And even if you when I'm doing the whole sessions of taking notes and everything, the consultation session and everything, and you tell me you've had suicidal ideations, even if they're passive, I will do a risk assessment.
Okay.
Just to make sure
that it is actually
passive, and then now we get to the active. Active suicidal ideation is whereby you've thought of ways to do it, you've fixated on it, you've started, your lifestyle has changed around it. You idolize people that are already dead and everything. And we also have people we call the risk category, whereby these are people, men. These are people that have tried to die by suicide before and all that. So in that situation, I help my client understand why I can't have sessions with them. One is because in such a situation, either you need hospitalization, whereby you can be put in the whole 72-hour suicide watch.
Yes.
Virtual sessions would not help. Okay. So we've moved from the first page. So my client already knows this is a situation, this is the cases this therapist might handle or might not handle. We now get to the other page. The other page is where now we talk about confidentiality and when confidentiality can be broken. For mine, it has around 8 reasons as to why confidentiality can be broken.
Okay.
And I walk my client through it all. I explain it to them like a child, like I would explain to a child.
In simple terms,
so that they can know,
understand
in case of XYZ, she will break confidentiality.
Okay.
And also, there are two other pointers in that aspect of confidentiality that states, I might break this confidential, but I won't break it without informing you first.
Okay.
And then there's one that I don't need to inform you.
You don't need to inform me, yes.
Right? So I help my client understand why this is it.
This is necessary.
And I need a verbal understanding that you understand where we are.
Yes.
So we can't move to the next point without you signing it.
Yes.
And understand. So we sign every page.
Yes.
Now we get to the third page. For
Okay.
mine has, I think, 3 pages.
Yes.
4, other than you sign and everything. The third one is the rights of the client. The client needs to understand their rights. As much as their
freedom,
I came to realize when it comes to these relationships or partnerships, I normally call them relationships or partnership because it's a long-term thing.
Yes.
Most people don't know their rights.
Okay.
You know, you don't know your right as a client. You don't know your right as a patient. So I help my client understand their rights.
Okay.
Mine, I think, are about 4 or 5. I make sure they understand what their rights are, and I give them that leeway to ask questions. I even tell them, before you sign this, go home with it. Sleep on it. Before you decide, I want to get into.
If you need maybe a third party to help you. A third party,
whatever, just someone that can explain it to you better. I even explain mine even in vernacular, just to make sure my clients are really understanding what they get.
Your mother did well to.
She did. Even if I interchange someone, bruh.
It's fine.
I can borrow water. Yes. Okay. So you see how important consent is,
yes.
And that is on a professional context.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
No, you want to tell me this is professional and everything, therapy, whatnot. Tunaongelelea consent on that serious. Now let's talk about sexual. You know?
And I feel like we interact with consent basically every day of our lives, like on a day-to-day basis. If you're joining a new job, you know, your employer will state certain expectations of you.
Yeah.
Before you join the job, like you have to agree
what is expected of you.
So it's something that we actually interact with daily.
So why do we start diluting consent when it comes to sexual matters? You know? Now let's talk about. I remember a while back, we used to have these hangouts.
Yes.
And one of the topics we used to discuss was consent. And personally, I walk people through 4 types or 4 components of consent.
Yes.
And every time I do this, people in the room, kuna kwaga tu na siasa mob. People don't agree with them.
Really?
Kabisa. So let me walk you through the 4 concepts and then we discuss them.
Okay.
Consent is supposed to be clear.
Yes.
By clear I mean, sile, akiwewe, stop.
No.
Imagine, you know.
Akilo sijiski.
If it's a no, it's a no.
Yes.
Manze staki. And you should say it in a more believable manner. Because I know of so many cases whereby guys say, alisema no, but actions zake zilikuwa zina And then I remember back in uni, there's this case. It happened in one of the hostels around uni. The lady met a guy kwa gym. The lady was of the Asian community. Met a guy, a Kenyan in the gym.
Yes.
They vibed and everything. And one day they decided she used to go home direct.
Yes.
So instead of going home, she would pass by his place. They would hang out. He would cook for her. Yes. No, the guy was Tanzanian, sorry. He would cook for her, blah, blah, blah. They just hung out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened. So in that process, one thing led to another, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
And they did what they did, and she ended up sleeping over.
Okay.
To the guy's place. I don't understand how you don't know this story. But anyway,
I was a very focused young man.
Kwani I was not focused.
You were focused on the tea.
Muhimu.
You were focused on the tea.
Anyway, so the following day, the chick needed to pack a few things so that she can leave. So it happened to be the guy didn't have carrier bags.
Okay.
So what this chick did is she and the guy went to borrow a carrier bag to one of their neighbors.
From the neighbor, yes.
So they went to knock. I think the girl also wanted to introduce the new catch to the neighbor because they were very close. You know, hizo meshene. Later on, you actually kwambia
uliona.
Bas.
Inaweza ama.
So they went, they knocked on this person's house. They asked for it and everything. And the lady went back. Okay. So when this chick went back home, it became a very different scenario, because I feel like the parents are very strict and everything. They wanted to know amelala
wapi, what happened,
and what not.
You know what? Yes.
Yes, and she decided to say she was raped.
Oh no. Okay.
You know, so it became a very big case.
Yes.
In school, like there was a whole case happening. There was a whole investigation being done. Was it true? Was she really raped and everything? And when all this is happening, the girl was expelled from school.
From school, yes.
And I remember it was his last semester. So he got expelled until this case
now
ends.
is
so
resolved.
These parents wanted it to become a police case.
A police case, yes.
Because, I mean, you know.
Yeah. You took
and the
advantage
school
of our daughter.
wanted to, first of all, do internal investigation.
We sort it out.
Yes, we do not even sort it out. We do internal investigations. Yes. If it is true, then
you can escalate
something will be done.
Yes.
So it became a very, very big case. So people that were involved started being called. So my neighbor was the neighbor was also called because she had contact with them at a particular moment and everything. So they wanted to know how was the mood. Did the lady seem in distress or anything? But she says, you know, she looked happy. They were like a nice, cute couple and everything.
Very jovial in it.
So following it through, later on it came to be realized that before all this happened, there was Ilea Kuja to, you know, just come to
my place.
There was that push until
push and pull, yes.
So there was that form of
some hesitation.
Tacky, you know. So when it comes to clear, that is what I'm saying. Anytime a guy hears a chick saying "Aki no, stacking in," take that as a red flag, and until it's a clear one, I want this.
I want you and I want you
just to avoid a lot of cases and everything, you know. So it should be clear. It should be a clear yes, you know.
Agreed.
The other one is it should be willing. By willing, it shouldn't be coerced.
Coerced, yes.
There's this thing whereby you hear msichana sema, especially it happens in places where one person has higher status than the other.
Okay.
In like an office or something, unasikia boss wako anakwambia, if you don't give me this and that, sitakupatia promotion ama sitafanya hivi. And then you weigh your options. You really need this job.
I need this job. I need the money.
You need that promotion. You need the money. Like hauko at an advantage ya kusema.
Yeah, the playing field has not been leveled.
Exactly. So unapata msichana wewe anasema, you know what, let me just give it manze, because I don't have any other option. You know, as much as amekubali, it was
options
coerced.
Are very limited. Yes,
it wasn't willing. So that is also wrong. You know, the other one, consent should also be ongoing, and this is where a lot of
people now find
issues coming.
Yes,
by ongoing namanisha, we can start it. Unaweza kuwa umeingisha kichwa. But the minute nimesema pana, change mind, you can't tell me you said yes.
Yes,
we are finishing. You can't tell me lazima tumalizie kitu. I might have said yes and then I got back to my senses before ata post-nat clarity mesha hit before you get.
And I think it's like, okay, I don't have any tattoos, but I probably would assume it's the same thing. I might be, you know, so fascinated by getting a tattoo. I really want one. I picked up a design. I am ready. I've got the tattoo parlor. And I'm like, chora hapa.
Maybe.
And he starts and the needle is going. And the whole time I'm like, you know, at first I'm visualizing the end and I'm like, I look so cool. And then halfway through I'm like, hey, I can't take this pain. Bro.
Acha.
Zima yo kitu.
Maybe I know of people literally that they have like 2 dots. Like it just started and then they were like, no.
Yeah.
And they're left with their dot.
Yes.
You know? So the same thing. We can have started the whole thing and everything, but the minute the person says, and this doesn't even apply to one gender, even if he says
no.
Because we always assume that a guy can't say no. If he says no, you need to respect it.
Yes.
You know, and be like, we can finish some other day. You know,
should we choose to?
Yes.
Again,
should we choose to?
Yes.
You know,
again, it's something that has to be consensual.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then now there's the whole aspect of coherent consent.
Am I in my right state of mind?
In my right state of mind.
Okay.
You know, tunaweza kutumeenda dunda. we've maybe indulged in certain drugs and everything. Hormones are hormoning, you know, and then I'm like, I can't walk vizuri.
Yes.
I can't drive.
Yes.
Meaning I can't make certain decisions. What makes you think I can make this decision about sex?
And this is a very heavy decision because the repercussions after it are, you know, could be long term.
Yes.
Like the risks involved.
Exactly.
Same way, driving.
You can't.
I could get into a car. The risk involved could be are life threatening, so to speak, or they're let me say life altering. So I believe it's the same thing when it comes to also you know, sex and copulation. The risks involved are also equally life altering because I could contract something that I was not ready for that might not be curable.
Agreed.
If it's a lady, she could get pregnant. That will delay a lot of things that are going on
like
in her life.
Like a lot of things can
and even
happen.
The guy now, that will mean now there's a certain responsibility that you have to assume. So
and also remember, if we're doing it when we're this high, it means we won't take certain
security safety measures
and everything, you know.
Yes.
And again, if msaizi tembea ni nini nakwambia anaweza make such a decision of doing. Hata msa anaweza blackout katikati. Alafu.
And then what?
And so you hear most of the time hizi cases of rape unasikiga msa akisema I went out, I was high. Maybe she was giving that, you know, she wants it, and then because she was high and everything, you know, it alters your
because the drugs also do things to you.
It alters your decision making and everything, you know. So I feel like coherent consent should be very important.
So question, okay, now intoxication aside, assuming I'm going through something and perhaps I'm depressed and I've not been myself for quite a while. I've been locking myself in. I have no interaction with people. I have no desire for life or to do anything. So in such a scenario, would you say I am coherent enough to make such a decision?
No, because I'll walk you through something. When it comes to the wellness checkup that people do, there's of course the sleeping, the eating and everything. Under it, there's a libido aspect of things.
Okay.
So when you're looking at libido, we're looking at more of or less of, whereby you're not, less in terms of you're not interested in it at all. You've no desire whatsoever. That's an issue. Or more of, whereby unapata
you're hypersexual.
Yes, it's like, I'm sorry to use this term. Again, quotes. Nangalia kamera gani quotes. You're in your whole phase because of something that happened. Either uliacho ka decide napita nafagilia group yake ama boy wote and everything. Why? Because you were hurt in a certain way that you're not thinking clearly.
Okay.
And what happens in such a situation, and the reason as to I'm saying in this case you're not coherent enough, is later on will you regret your actions?
Your actions, yes.
It's very different from saying this is who I am. I enjoy sex. I love sex.
Yes.
I'm going to indulge with anyone and I will use protection and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Without any reason behind it. It's a very different thing than saying I'm doing this because of this and that. I know people that when they're dealing with grief, the only way they can feel better is through sex because of the feel-good hormones that are released during that period.
Yes.
So you feel good. It's like drinking. Say when you're for a few minutes, for a few seconds, it gives you that relief. But later on, ukimaliza, the situation is still there.
Okay.
So you'll still feel that again. And then meaning kesho yake, if it's still there, you want to do it again, again, and that's where the whole point
it's a temporary wave that you have to...
Exactly.
It rises and it crashes.
Exactly. So you'll keep on doing it again until you find a point whereby you can't function without this. And then now addiction comes in.
Okay.
And we also have sex addicts.
Yes.
So now that becomes a whole different thing. So when you're doing something when you're not coherent enough, or when you're doing it because of a certain feeling you have, like depression or, everything, there's a high chances of you being dependent on it. So
I guess this is where now we find cases of even married people getting into issues of, marital rape,
yes.
or maybe cheating, or sleeping out, because now all of a sudden my partner is not satisfying my needs, so to speak.
Yeah.
And your partner is here feeling, something changed, something shifted.
Something
all of a
is
sudden, the demands being placed on me are, a lot more, and there's no understanding that, because I believe in any relationship, you should be able to sit down and come to an agreement on certain things. There are certain things that you, as a person, you can maybe say come to a compromise. There are certain things you people can agree on and be like, this is an issue where it's black and white. I cannot negotiate on this. So I guess it still goes back to what we were discussing last week.
Exactly.
Mambo ya healing ni kama
healing manzi watu wanafaa heal by fire by force.
We are constantly healing them.
We do need to heal, the whole concept of healing and also understanding yourself, because again I feel like it reaches a point whereby I'm overindulging. I'm doing this thing.
Self-awareness.
Yes, that self-awareness aspect of things is very important,
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
So guys, I guess healing is a journey that really, let me say, has no permanent destination.
Exactly.
It's a continuous. I'll take it as an adventure. By the way, it's not really just. It's an adventure, because for those of you who are outdoorsy like some of us, I used to love, especially as a kid. We used to go out on adventures, and the fun part was discovering something new. So we'd go out, we're like, okay, leo, tunatoka maybe Karen, tunaenda Ngong. And it's one route to Ngong, but along the way, we'll be like, there's like a route there, there's like a path there that looks like itatoke huko. Tujaribu. Mnajaribu. If you find a dead end, well and good. You turn back, you know your way. If you find it connects, and that used to give us such a thrill. So I think that's the same thing with healing, where you will discover something, you will sort something out, because one thing will always reveal the next.
Agreed.
You will deal with one thing, and it will, when you get that clarity, it also brings you to a place of realization of something else that you're dealing with, or that you need to address. Yeah. So even as we continue, so this podcast is actually being run under the umbrella of hugs.co.ke. With me also is Nassim, who has not told us what Hugs is about. She's the founder of Hugs, so she can tell us who Hugs is and what is your MO.
Yes. Hugs is an acronym, first of all, because most of the time when we do events and we're saying Hugs, everyone thinks we're out there.
I'm all of
supply,
and I like warm hugs.
Hugs, yes. So Hugs stands for hardiness and arts, great success.
Okay.
And hardiness is hardiness comes from the term hardy, where it's technically means resilience.
Yes.
Yes. And how we develop resilience again is through situations and life experiences and everything. We develop that thick skin. So what hugs technically means is if we learn how to deal with whatever it is that is happening to us and around us, it will help us untap potentials that we didn't know we had.
Yes.
And hence the whole success and adding the whole success. Yes. So what we do at Hug, and also from just that term, uko sad, uko low, what do you need?
And genuinely, by their hugs actually work magic.
Exactly.
They really do.
Yes, you'll call for a hug. So I felt like when we're coming up with the names, it fitted very well.
Very well.
They married each other, especially when it came to some of the cases that we deal with and everything. It felt like a warm and safe space.
Safe space, yes.
Yes. So other than that, hugs, at hugs we create awareness. That's our main mission. Creating awareness around mental health and mental health issues or mental health related issues.
Yes.
We do so through different programs. We do so through mentorship programs. We do so through workshops, and we do so through events, whereby all our events are mental health related. So we have different programs. We have for women only, whereby we look into supporting young moms, a sanitary towel,
drives and
everything. We have the whole concept of wanamichezo na mental health, whereby we focus on sportsmen. We have a whole rehabilitation and reintegration program, and currently there's also a free therapy session that we're running, courtesy of Hugs and a UK-based organization called Overcome. So we have a nicotine study right now. So if you are struggling with nicotine, cigara, vape, all that, shisha, we are offering free services for that. It's more of addiction therapy rather, so it can help with that. And we're also offering generalized mental health issues. If you feel like you're depressed and whatnot, you can reach out. I think we'll put a link at the end of this that you can sign in on and get the free therapy, and you're getting this through qualified therapists.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, basically that's what we do. And through Hugs, thank you very much for sponsoring this podcast.
Thank you.
Yes. So yeah, that's what Hugs does.
All right. So thank you, Hugs. And to you out there, if you feel this is impactful for you, please drop a like. Make sure you subscribe as we discuss different issues that affect us, and we delve deep into what affects us as a person, what affects us deep in our minds, in our thoughts. So, Nassim, do you have any interesting topic now that we've come from a very
heavy topic? I mean, it's very heavy. I don't know. Do you have we are supposed to talk about Did You Know segment?
Yes.
What have you found that was interesting for you?
This is interesting. I do not like roaches. I cannot stand roaches. And apparently, if you decapitate a roach, it doesn't die.
It stays like a week or so.
Yes.
Without a headless. Yo, bruh. Yeah. Did you also know that roaches are also milked? Speaking of roaches, there's maziwaya roaches. Bruh. So you see the way they have
stage.
Almost. You see the way they have almond,
almond milk
and everything.
Yes.
There's roaches milk, and apparently I hear it's very
nutritious
and everything. So I don't know ilifika point gani. I still hatujamaliza figure out msemanyali realize maziwa ya ng'ombe alikuwa anafanya nini na ng'ombe. So we were roaches.
Yeah. And I have so many questions that I do not know. Because first of all, how did you get to that point of realizing inatoa maziwa? And then you can, what was your thought process that you even went down to even discover?
And how many roaches are needed to make like a whole cup of milk?
And
how does it taste?
Right? So the person who discovered, did they test it themselves, or did they
like does it need, like, do you need to take it through another procedure or processing for it
or
to be
to
okay,
be,
or can you drink it straight from,
and
you
what
know,
does
the
it look
roaches
like?
kama venye unaweza kunywa maziwa ya ng'ombe straight from the cow, you just boil it? But people eat, si kuna tu eat kula zile bags zenye zi kuja tena
kumbe. No, please.
kumbe.
Wait, don't. That is a delicacy.
So if it's the same family with the roaches.
No, they are different families. They're not even cousins, please.
Nisi, I should put some respect.
Put some respect.
Yeah, so there's that. But maybe I just want to know also how many roaches, maybe when you're doing your research, you can check how many roaches are needed to produce a whole cup of milk.
But why am I drinking roach milk?
I don't know. Why are you eating kumbe?
Hey, that one from
Iyo.
That one stems back in history. It has deep roots. Deep. Uko.
That is manna from heaven.
Uko the Mayans and the Aztec. Uko. Even this the Ugandans call it Nsenene.
I've seen it. I've also seen it. There's a lady that was trying to teach people on how to cook it. Oh, there's also one I saw that was cooking, not crickets, worms. Is this caterpillars or something?
West Africa and some countries.
Dried ones.
Southern, south of the Sahara. Now after Kenya, huku chini. They actually eat them. I hear like there are markets, in fact.
Yeah. So
specifically,
my question is, why we, mbona tuna neglect certain groups of insects?
I rest my
case.
Kama
unakula hizo vitu zote, pia maziwa ya nyenje mkunywe bana.
I rest my case.
Mskwe.
It's a societal thing. It's a cultural thing.
It is. But I also want to know, I have a lot of questions. But yeah, you spoke of roaches, and then I remember there's a place I read that they can be milked.
So hivi karibuni tutakuwa tuna,
Unaingia
almond
super.
milk, soy milk, cow milk.
Roach milk.
Roach.
And I'm assuming it's the big ones that fly too.
Hey, those ones just creep me out.
I know. But me, I don't mind them. I step on them. I'm not scared of roaches.
It's not I
didn't sound like you're scared.
I'm not, bro. I'm not scared.
If you're in the house and a roach passes by, you jump behind your kids. Not even the wife.
Fam.
Bruh. Me, I step on them.
I cannot. Yeah.
I don't mind them. Yes. Interesting.
All right.
That was very interesting. But I'll do more research and see how many roaches produce. I'm still hung up on that.
Okay.
Like how many can, produce a whole cup of milk.
Kazi kwako. Maybe you can go catch the ones in your hood.
Yeah.
Identify which ones are male or female. Milk a few.
There's also that. Is it that all roaches produce milk, or is it the female ones that produce milk? Interesting enough, I also heard about mosquitoes. There's a certain gender of mosquitoes that give you malaria.
Yeah, it's
the
just
females.
Yes.
I knew you wanted to say females.
I'm sorry.
The original scene transfer hadi kwa insect. Everything.
Let me tell you. And it's funny. I saw it online. I think I saw it as a comment. And it's a females in specific regions. It's usually the tropical regions. And this guy was like, yeah, of course. It's because the male mosquitoes have left and gone to the city to go and hustle. So it's a female that's left uko mashindani. Ana kitu ya kufanya ndio maana
they're bitter. So juu wako bitter wana produce malaria. Bruh. Yo. Okay, interesting. Yes, dilemma. Do you have a dilemma for me?
Wait. So, there's. So I was talking to a friend, and they shared a story of another friend who was getting married, And you'll have like your best man and your maid of honor and everything, and the best man went above and beyond to make sure that everything is successful, like going through sacrifices that he didn't need to, going even into his own pocket. Meanwhile, the family of the groom is not really getting involved in this planning.
Okay.
And then they go ahead and now declare, we will sort out like decor and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they go for a cheaper option.
Of course, I know a cheaper person.
I know, yes. So this guy, first of all, decor is delayed. Yeah, it does not align with the actual set colors. So constantly these guys are frustrating, like the family are frustrating this guy. He needs to go and pick the bride. No one is willing to like beba him kwa gari. So this guy is even, he's sorting out things. He's getting hands-on. Ametoa koti, amekunja suti.
Oh, this is the day of the wedding.
Day of the wedding? Mm-hmm. Ameamka mapema, ameenda like kwa venue. Now he's literally getting involved. Like gari ime break down, amekunja shati, amebadilisha tire. And then these guys are like, we can't take you to the bride's place. Like you just take a cab. So
they're telling the guy that has been kunjaing mashati. The groom.
No, the best man. So it's like, you know what? Nisao, I will walk to the road and then find means. So I think ile kusikia vibaya. And everything goes on and all. And the groom is aware. And then after this, there's no acknowledgement, first of all. Hakuna hata like asante for this. And they were, very okay with it. And I can't remember. Aki, my memory is failing me, but I can't remember what they did. Please. Miaka yangu si kidogo. But like when these guys are on honeymoon, it's like they call him not to thank him, but to
request for something.
Basically ask him to run another errand for them. And I'm like, what level of friendship is this that I have not unlocked, where someone is literally just walking over you, using you as a doormat, you're doing everything, umemlalia kwa matope ndio avuke, and it's also ile theoria, they will tell you are not flat enough. Like,
you've never had that concept of if you give someone an arm, they will want the whole thingy. But now for me, I feel like it's all about expectations, and I have a very, very, very different concept when it comes to expectations. First of all, I normally say expectations are the mother of disappointment.
Yes.
The minute you expect people to do certain things or to behave in a certain way, you will get disappointed. Every time, even with my friends, I've had cases whereby a friend of mine will come and tell me, oh my God, nimefanyia XYZ, hii na hii. But when it came to my time, when I needed this and that, they never, came through for me and everything. My first question to them was, why were you helping out?
Yes.
Because most of the time what we do is we help out as a way of banking.
Okay.
I'm banking on this, in the sense that the next time I'll need something from you, I'm expecting you to come through for me,
yes.
Because I came through for you the other time. And hii dunia watu wako hivyo. Umenitendea wema, we nenda zako. Like,
na hata fair sikupei.
Exactly. So when it comes to us coming through for people, and this is something I learned later on in life, whereby when it comes to me coming through for people, I must first of all ask myself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for acknowledgement? Am I doing this for banking, system whereby I will, if I need them, they'll come through for me and everything? Or am I doing this out of my kind heart? Like charity.
As an overflow of...
Yes. You see the way you can go and help out someone in the streets and everything and you never think about it. You keep it going.
Yeah, like in a school, very few people do it.
So now that's the thing we need to ask ourselves.
Because most of the people who do it now do it for, again, recognition.
Exactly.
History, documenting everything. I don't see the reason why you should document your charitable act.
I'll give you an example as to why we do charity work and everything, and we document them. One, the reason we do this is for the people that contributed for
accountability. For accountability, yes.
You get. So, like I said, there's always a reason behind something. So, just understanding why you're doing something. I'll give you an example in your friend of a friend's scenario. Maybe for them, they were doing all this because, one, they wanted the acknowledgement.
Actually, no. They did it out of the abundance of their heart. But now also, you see, I can do something for you out of an abundance.
Mm-hmm.
But in our relationship, there are certain things that you should not let happen to me.
No, you see, that's an expectation you're having of me.
But you see, but there are certain expectations that cut across when it comes to relationship.
Wapi.
Let me tell you. Okay, let me ask you. So then, if you and I are dating, yeah, and we're working together, chokora fulani akuja kukule coffee moto katikati ya street. How am I supposed to respond to that?
No, very good you've brought this up, because there's a viral video that was going around a while back about a similar situation.
Yes.
It was actually the girl was proposing to the chick. They're white, sijui ni kutoka wapi. So they were proposing at a very public place.
Yes.
So the guy was down on one knee proposing to the chick and everything. And by the time he was standing, the girl, of course, alikubali pete and everything. So when he was standing and everything, someone came and brushed him over or something. So the chick got so angry that she started pushing the guy to go fight that person that, pushed him. But the guy didn't want to fight or anything. So the girl removed the ring and threw it at him. She was all angry because she felt like the man is not man enough to do certain things. Now, remember, expectations are very important. And again, remember, unspoken expectations are the mother of disappointment.
Yes.
Fine.
Unspoken expectations build resentment.
Exactly, they build resentment, because the only time they build resentment is if these expectations are not met. At times we have this scenario in our head that my man should do this, my man should, and I've not even communicated with my man to know if he has the capacity to do that, because imagine angenda apikio fight alafu atandikwe.
Okay, that's an extreme. But you see...
But I'm trying to walk you through the whole concept.
You see her anger is a very natural response, because this is a person I love, and this is someone who has shown
disrespected.
Yes. So there's that natural urge of, I will want to stand up for him. Not fight necessarily. Yeah?
But I get
you. I will not... And you see, that's the thing. So what you're saying is, you'd be okay if he slapped you, and I gave no caution to it.
No, of course not.
But
let me walk you through another scenario.
Yeah.
When we joined uni, I think I was still a freshman or something. There's this guy I used to date. He was very tall. He was like a 6-something. Very tall, nice body. I think. So remember this time we went town. Hiyo ilikuwa ile time ya kuwekewa movies kwa CD. So we had gone kitambo. Naji-expose. I'm pretty sure kuna wase wamezaliwa hawajaiona DVD.
Gen Z CDs are what we used to use before Netflix.
Yes, after this tunafaa kuonesha. Oh my goodness.
Kwanza Gen Alpha unajua they are not familiar with what that is. Yeah.
Anyway, so it was that time. So I remember we had gone to town kuwekewa hizo movies kwa CD. And then kukakuwa na fight between hawkers na Kanjo. So place yenye tulikuwa I think we were at Moi Avenue. So right outside ndio you get. So they were throwing glasses and whatnot. And then a glass was thrown. Ikaingia kwa, yo, I have suffered in the room. Yo, so they were throwing glasses. I think about that. They were throwing glasses. So one of the, debris were coming.
Shards of glass.
Exactly. They were coming inside the shop and everything. Do you know this man? I've told you how tall he is. He held me where I was standing and used me as a shield.
As a human shield. Hey.
And because he's taller than me, he has to escort ndio mwili yangu iweze kumcover vizuri. But then, if you're watching this, shame on you.
Baby, big shame.
Shame. So he did that. And I swear to God, they walked to the parking lot where we had, because I remember, I think we had parked Izo said Afya Center, at Afya Center. Izo said Lifestyle. The walk there
was very awkward.
I was very confused. I was trying to replay this thing in my head, what just happened, because my expectations were he would jump in front.
And those
and I'm like, yo.
And that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because I think there's some things that are more or less natural. It's a very natural thing to happen.
But then again,
it's the same way. You cannot be a threat to my child and expect me to be cool about it.
Exactly.
And to be very nonchalant about it.
I get that. I get that whole concept.
Even animals, it's instinctual.
Na kama instinct ya mseni kama yewe mtu wangu ya fight or flight. The flight ili overpower fight.
Mzee tu hakuwa na kufeel tu hivyo.
But shame on you manzi.
Angekwambia tu. He was just not that into.
Ndio ungeniambia. Uliniwestia time.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Like for real.
Yes, but anyway, I get that. I get that whole point. But at the same time, these days, I'm very, when it comes to expectations and everything, I don't hold any expectations on people. As long as it's not work, the only people I expect to do something is people that work for me or under me. In the sense that we sat down, we agreed, these are your roles, this is what you're supposed to be doing and everything. The same, again, allow me to get kidogo into psychology. I feel like understanding your circle of control, circle of influence, and circle of concern, personally for me, it has worked wonders. Because for me nowadays, I'm in a bubble whereby you can do something and I will understand it is totally out of my control. It's something I could not have changed because that is your behavior. I can't change your behavior or make you do certain things and everything. Yes. That is you.
It is
and
beyond
personally
your control.
On my end, it's beyond my control. So I should not overthink about it. I should not get angry about it. So Kitamba used to get angry a lot over things that people used to do and everything. But the minute I started understanding these 3 circles, I came to realize there's nothing much I can do about this. So it's whatever they do, that's on them. It's not on me. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe naweza sema nimefika zen. I'm in that position of zen. Do you? Imagine nowadays nothing phases me at all. As long as it's not in my Another thing, also with the circle of influence, I really understand that you can influence something but you can't change it. Okay, let me put 2 people on blast if they're watching this. I have 2 PAs. With my 2 PAs, one of the PA, she never comes through for shit. But if you're watching this, do better because you're almost getting replaced.
Change your ways.
Change your ways. Acha nikuanike hapa ndio nione kama uta change. So one of them, she communicates, yes. We plan, maybe I have an interview or I have somewhere I need to be. She knows she's supposed to be there. She'll say she'll be there. And then I get there before her and she's not picking calls. She's not doing shit.
Who's here?
Kwanza hiyo swali nijibu. I need 20 marks essay of who's PA. You get, and then I have another one that for them I've divided the roles. So for the other one, she meets what she needs to do. Follow throughs. she even does the whole checkup. How has your week been? Mental health checkups and everything. She does that. But also for her, she also struggles with communication.
Okay.
And as a pull disappearing act. So you're disappearing on me, and I need you to plan my meetings and everything. You get. But then again, I also came to realize I can influence, communicate these things. And if they can't change, that's a them issue.
That's a them issue, yes.
You get, in terms of commitment, in terms of follow through and everything. So what I can do is either I get a new PA, or we have a proper sit down and understand issue iko wapi.
Yes.
Because for me, I always walk them through layer. Nini ni shida. What can I help in? What can I not help in? But by just understanding that you'll never find me calling them kwa kelelesha. Oh, you're supposed to be in this and that place. So I know you get. I don't know if that makes sense. Even
I get you.
If you know your roles and you're not following through them.
And I believe the roles have been
communicated
and also divided according to one, their strengths that you've identified, and also according to what was agreed between the both of you that they would be able to
and that's what I was telling you.
Execute.
Before you get into this commitment, we walked through all that. Yes. Everyone knew their roles and everything. But also came to understand, as much as these roles are communicated and everything, I can't change someone's behavior.
Okay.
You know?
That's true.
And with that, I'm not an angry boss ati unakuja unapata nikukachia the whole day. You communicate, tell me where the problem was. If we can resolve it, well and good. If we can't resolve it, for me, I believe everyone is replaceable, including me.
So on the same, can you speak to the ladies, because Historia, I can change him. This narrative has been going on for way too long.
You can change him as who? Kama
mamake
hajamchange hadi hapo penye amefika na alitoka ndani yake. Kenya limchange ni diaper. Wewe ni nini unaweza, because you understand, because I can change him. I'm seeing change. Me only say anyone that wants to change should come from,
it starts from within.
You know?
Yes.
And it works organically, you know, when it comes from within. But ingine ya juju, they'll even start resenting you because they'll feel like you've changed.
Yeah.
Apart. Yeah, so
you lose.
I feel like everyone should master those 3 circles. Maybe I'm always on, it didn't go the way I wanted. Well, did I do my best? Yes. Whatever I was to do on my end, did I work on it and everything? Is there anything more I could have done or controlled? If no, they know I'm a good jacket. I'm like,
who says?
You know? And I feel like that you live in a very zen. You live in your own bubble. Like you rarely get angry or pissed over. And it helps. It's because I normally say, even if it's an emotion like anger and everything, you ni kama mseme kucontrol manzi. Kama mseme anaweza fanya jam the whole day ukose mtu ame control.
There you have it, folks, and that is the secret to the fountain of youth.
Yes. Yes.
Master your 3 circles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as we move forward, you're in a place of understanding, and especially in our current age, we have a lot of resources at our fingertips, within our pocket. You know, so let's also be very intentional about bettering ourselves, growing. Matters to do with consent. You know, we don't have to keep having this discussion every now and then. I believe the same way we're always trying to improve ourselves in different areas at our workplaces. You know, you're always trying to be better so that you can like earn more. For those who play sports, you always want to be better than you were before. So why not do the same even with our personal progress, even with our mental health?
Agreed.
So just do your research and learn those bad habits. Let's change the narrative. We cannot continue
do better, be better.
Passing blame on
exactly
on the people who went before us. They did their part, fine. And for them, you see, the thing is, they did it as according to what was available to them, what they knew, what they understood. So let's look forward to a better society moving forward. And we're looking forward to seeing you again next week. Please feel free to drop a comment if there is any topic that you'd like us to discuss. You can write in the comment section. If you feel this is something, again, that was very impactful for you, very eye-opening for you, share it with a friend. You guys can discuss it together. You can give us feedback. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other parting shots, Nassim.
Yeah, just subscribe, like, and comment.
All right, people, there you have it. See you again next week.